It's closing time on the F1 Fantasy 2024 season, but we still got time for one last race review, so let's get into it. What is up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of F1 Fantasy Pole Position and the final race review of the F1 Fantasy 2024 season. 24 races, lots of ups, lots of downs, and it all came full circle last night in Abu Dhabi, where my hopes of a top 5K finish went tumbling down like Oscar Piastri on the first lap at the first corner. So thanks, Max Verstappen, for one last present for the F1 Fantasy 2024 season. I went for it. It didn't work out. Still finished the top 10K, so not that bad, but it is what it is. Took a punt, and I did not work out. Just a little scheduling note, because it's now the off season, most of these episodes are going to be like 10, 15 minutes long. So they won't be long episodes. So just like short and sweet. We'll keep them snappy. Still trying to figure out what my off-season content plan will be. But today will be a race review. Then Wednesday will be a season review. And then I think next Monday, I'm just going to do like a season awards kind of thing. Let me know if there's any off-season content that you would like me to cover in the comments below. Hit me up on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok at F1 Fantasy U, and I will be here all off-season long, kind of trolling for any F1 news that we can kind of go over in any videos. But let's get into it here. Like I said, these are going to be short and sweet. Abu Dhabi Grand Prix headlines. Lando leads from the get-go. Pretty easy breezy Sunday afternoon. Simply lovely afternoon for the McLaren driver as the Papaya took home the constructors title for the first time since 1998, I believe. Is that right? So great job by them. Not great job on the fact that the commemorative poster is $120. Like, it's a poster. Like, okay, I was gonna put it up right here next to Jurgen. It was gonna go right there. Maybe move that up and then move this down and just have a little McLaren thing right there. But $120 for a poster? Okay. Anyways, Ferrari's ferocious fight back. Charles Leclerc was a man possessed yesterday afternoon, charging up the field, got a podium. Despite winning drive of the day, just having a great drive in that Ferrari, he was still so dejected that he could not bring home the constructor's title for Ferrari. But I mean, I've been kind of growing into a Charles Leclerc fan all season. Like, I didn't really have like no love, no hate for him the last couple of seasons. But this year, just like outstanding. So I might be team Leclerc next year when it goes for Hamilton versus Leclerc in the Ferrari. But Sainz bowing out with another podium for Ferrari as he heads over to Williams for the postseason testing starting tomorrow. Piastri completed every lap, barely. I thought it was a disaster class on the first turn there. Luckily, he was able to get back into it, but then he caused a collision with Colapinto, had another 10-second penalty. So just a pretty bad Sunday for the Australian. Alpine claims P6 in the constructors ahead of Haas, as Pierre Gasly kind of held on to his best of the rest tag that he's had for the last few races here. Bottas and K-Mag bottled the driver of the day. Bottas going out, absolutely just kind of ruining Kevin Magnus's race as well. But there was no choice in driver of the day except to go with Charles Leclerc at the end of it. Maybe Lewis Hamilton could have snuck in there. I think he was second in the voting, but Leclerc charging all the way back from P19 into a podium spot is pretty much wrapped unless K-Mag could get a top 10 finish, and Bottas makes sure that did not happen. Checo checks out. Sounds like he's done at Red Bull. Still waiting for some official word from them. They don't like to give their drivers an official send-off. They just like to kind of slide out in the dead of night. So not expecting anything from that organization to kind of commemorate what Checo has done for them. But yeah, another disastrous Sunday for the Mexican driver. Maybe we'll see him back on the grid in 2026, but you never know. 1 year off and these things can get away from you quite quickly. And Hamilton beats Russell head-to-head. There's quite a lot made about them being equal on points over the last 3 seasons as teammates, and Hamilton with a fantastic pass on the final turn or the final lap to get George and claim that he won the head-to-head battle as teammates over the last 3 seasons. Abu Dhabi Grand Prix facts and stats here. Points scored. It was Leclerc 55, Norris 35, Hamilton 33. Positions gained. Leclerc 16 positions gained, Hamilton 12, Albon 7. Overtakes, it went Leclerc, Verstappen, and Hamilton and Tsunoda. Leclerc with 14, Verstappen with 11, Hamilton, Tsunoda with 9. And then fastest pit stop, McLaren 10, Ferrari 5, and Red Bull 3. Charging Charles, as you can see here, driver of the day, his 5th driver of the day award this season. It was tied for the season high in points, his most points in a non-win this season. And now he, over the last 5 and the last 3 races, he leads the grid in points per race with 36.4 over the last 5 races and 40.3 over the last 3. So really coming on strong as Ferrari ended the season with a insane charge towards McLaren there, who kind of stumbled over the finish line into the constructors title. But yeah, 55 points. He qualified 14th, took that engine penalty or power unit penalty on Sunday, still started 19th, 16 position gain, 14 overtakes, just a fantastic drive from Charles Leclerc. So great job by him. Great job by Ferrari to even make it a fight. McLaren probably should have had this constructors title wrapped up 1 or 2 races ago, but Ferrari just kept on coming, and you could see how much it meant to Charles. So I won't say hopefully because I'm a McLaren fan, but yeah, that fight's going to be really close next year as well, especially if Red Bull is putting in like a Liam Lawson in their second seat. That's going to be, is George Russell plus Kimi Antonelli a better pairing than Verstappen and Liam Lawson? Maybe not. So maybe it'll be that Red Bull pairing will be the 3rd strongest pairing on the grid, I would think. Mercedes just a little bit behind, but Ferrari and McLaren would clearly be out ahead of those two. But great job by Charles Leclerc in his final race of the 2024 season. Chip usage here, just kind of going over what we got. Surprising amount of chips were left on the table by people in the global top 500. All this data is from f1fantasytools.com. Fantastic website. They crushed it. Go check out their season summary. If you haven't yet, I'll go over it on Wednesday's episode when I go over a little bit of a season review on my end. Extra DRS was used by 4.2%, Limitless 2%. Final Fix and Autopilot were the most popular chips. One of the lessons learned that I'm going to go over in the season review will be like the chips. Like I was just kind of willy-nilly with them a little bit this season. I think only the Limitless chip really worked out for me. The Autopilot chip worked out a tiny bit as well, but I used my Final Fix all wrong. I used my no negative all wrong. Yeah, lessons learned for sure this season that we will get into on Wednesday's episode. Team selection for the global top 500. The most picked driver were Norris, Hülkenberg, Bottas, Colapinto, and Piastri. So 2 of those 3 DNF'd, and Piastri had a pretty disastrous weekend as well. In fact, that was my entire team, except I had Leclerc instead of Norris. So yeah, it was not too good for me. Most added were Bottas, Hülkenberg, Leclerc, Magnussen, and Albon, and the most dropped were Russell, Gasly, Colapinto, Tsunoda, and Sainz. Getting into my team review here. I had my final thoughts episode on Saturday morning. Hopefully you guys tuned in for that. But once the Sims came out, once I saw Free Practice 3, I just want to take the punt without Lando. I was wondering if Oscar was kind of going to go gung-ho for the win here. And I guess he did, but just a little too much tangled with Max Verstappen, and you really don't want to do that. So the final lineup was Oscar with the 2 times DRS, Leclerc, Franco Colapinto, Valtteri Bottas, Nico Hülkenberg, Ferrari, and McLaren. Could have been a way better day if I just put the 2X on Charles Leclerc. Another lesson learned, like he was going to take a grid penalty. The pace was kind of there for Ferrari. Yeah, I don't know. I had a tough time this season kind of judging those, like who would have a recovery drive. Like I used my Final Fix in Baku to go with Leclerc over Lando because I was like, Azerbaijan's not really that great of an overtaking track. And that like came back to bite me as well. So definitely something I'll need to work on for 2025. My transfer for Norris to Leclerc and Zhou Guanyu to Hülkenberg, which actually ended up in a positive, but just Oscar kind of failed me there. Only holding on to Oscar was not the way. Global League, Second Chance League, and Viva Las Vegas. So these are actually all of my teams. So pretty proud to say that my T3 squad actually ended in top 3,000 or top 1,000 in the world. So that's pretty nice. Feel pretty good about that. The T2 squad was really strong in the second half of the season. Out of 100,000 teams, it came 325th, so not bad there as well. And then in that Viva Las Vegas mini league, I came 4th in the world. So some ups, some downs, but some pretty good results at the end of it. I'd love that T3 team to be my T1 team so I could talk about it a little bit more on the streams, and that is what I will be focusing on heading into 2025. But yeah, overall, not a bad season. 3 teams in the top 12,000 in the world of 2.5 million F1 fantasy managers. Not bad at all. Not disheartened at all. I took a punt trying to crack that top 5K with my T1 squad. Didn't work out. Still finished in the top 10K in the world. And then, yeah, that T3 squad, top 1,000. Pretty chuffed about that. Let me know where your team's finished in the world. Let's compare ranks. Like, what do you think you're going to have to improve on for 2025? All that fun stuff. A little bit of analysis here. We were talking about Lewis Hamilton versus George Russell. So this is a goodbye George from Lewis. So over the last 3 seasons, Hamilton pipped him 697 points to 695 in F1. And then their F1 fantasy averages over the last 3 seasons as well. Lewis lost to George in 2022, where George had 22.4, Hamilton had 21.7. And then the last 2 seasons, Hamilton has come back 23 points per race in 2023 and 17.5 for George in last season as well. And then this season was almost the closest year. I mean, I guess 2022 was closer, but it felt like they were maybe the most competitive on track this year. 20.6 for Hamilton versus 19 per race for George. George did have a couple of bad DNFs and disqualifications this year, so not entirely on him. Especially in the F1 points category, but Lewis can kind of roll out of Mercedes saying that he did beat George Russell head to head over the last 3 seasons, but been really impressed by George over the last 5 races, kind of just taking on the mantle as the team leader. And I think he's going to go from strength to strength in 2025. And when the regs change in 2026, the kind of rumors are that Mercedes has cracked that engine. They're looking pretty good for these new regs. So George Russell could be like outside the top 5 drivers in F1 fantasy for 2025, but for 2026, he will have to be on our radar for sure. Can't wait to see his price for the next season as well. But while he said goodbye to George, he is saying ciao to Charles, and he has got some competition on his hands because over the last 3 seasons, Charles Leclerc has outscored Lewis Hamilton F1 points 870 to 697. And over the last 3 seasons, he has beat him head to head twice, quite convincingly in 2022, 26.5 to 21.7, and this season, 28.5 to 20.6. Hamilton got the better of Leclerc in 2023, 23 points to 15.2, when Leclerc was suffering some major DNF issues last season in that Ferrari. But yeah, Charles Leclerc is not going to back down from a fight. It's really going to be interesting how Ferrari handles this, because it's always kind of been Charles Leclerc, driver 1, Carlos Sainz, driver 2, but Hamilton's not going to come into this team wanting to be driver 2. He's been pretty slow in qualifying this year, while Charles kind of shines in that format. But we'll just see if a new and improved, invigorated Lewis Hamilton can really take it to Charles Leclerc, and how the Monegasque driver responds to the Brit. There's going to be a fantastic battle to watch in 2025, and I can't wait to see Hamilton in red on January 1st. He will not be in the postseason test because he has a contract through the end of the year and has some promotional duties to do for the Silver Arrows as well. F1 Fantasy Pole Position League updates. Congrats to Andrew Harris. Leapers won, crushed it in this league, and won the whole dang thing in the Global League. So clap, clap, clap to Andrew. Well done by you. Your team selection and your kind of process this season is definitely going in the wind tunnel for F1 Fantasy Pole Position squads for next season. So great job by you. F1 Ben 2024 snuck into the top 5 here at the end. So the top 5 were Leapers 1, Rock Place, Kevin Race Day, Laughing in the Haas Lane, and F1 Ben 2024. F1 Ben had a huge weekend, like 302 points. So great job by him. And then Abu Dhabi top 5 over here. In Despair, No Mikey No, and Ru Miambo 2 all finished on 358 points. In Despair and No Mikey No had the extra DRS boost, and Ru Miambo 2 actually used their Limitless chip. Little Dream was 4th with 357, and Keep 'Em Busy was 5th with 355. Upcoming events. Not a lot going on. Postseason testing is tomorrow. I don't think we're going to get a lot out of that, but then preseason testing only a few months away, February 26th through the 28th. So that is when we are going to get hot and heavy again with F1 Fantasy, watching how the teams come out. Deliveries will come out before then. So that'll get something to be excited about. But take a break from F1 Fantasy. You can watch the little videos that I'll be putting out all winter as well. And then Australia, March 14th or 16th through 18th, 14th through 16th. One of those, through those dates at some point, it is going to be on there in Australia, where I believe Rain Fantasy is going to be out there. So have a great trip, Rain, in a few months' time. But yeah, the season is only a few months away, so that's going to be fantastic to watch. And that's going to do it for the race review. I told you it was going to be short and sweet this week. Season review, and then like a lessons learned, season awards, all that jazz. I'm not sure. I'm going to split those up into 2 episodes. I'm just not sure what the combination is going to be. I said it on the race preview episode last week, but thank you for all the likes, views, comments, subscriptions to the YouTube channel this season. It has been an unprecedented season of growth for the F1 Fantasy Pole Position channel. I greatly appreciate everything. Onto bigger and better things in 2025. There'll still be some content coming out like I've been talking about, but yeah, mostly just trying to look at the channel, see how I can improve it for 2025. If you have any suggestions, hit me up. I am very much open to constructive criticism and even non-constructive criticism. If you hate it, let me know as well. But thanks for watching. Give it a like in a hateful way. But that's going to do it for the in-season F1 Fantasy 2024 content for this season. Hopefully I've helped you along the way. Hopefully you ended winning all your mini leagues, finishing where you want to in the global rankings, and hit me up on X, Blue Sky, all those places at F1 Fantasy or F1 Fantasy UN to just chit chat about whatever you would like. But for the final time for in-season content this season, thank you once again. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to you next time.